We thank all of you, wow, for being here today. I wasn't expecting this, really. This is really touching. I know we all are grappling with this issue, the issue. So it means a lot to see so many of you here representing all different walks of our city, our community, and our love for each other, all different shades of the rainbow, all different backgrounds, all different denominations, because I recognize some of our pastors and leaders from the faith community with us today, too. Thank you all. This was just to be our elected officials standing in solidarity together to speak to our young people, that we are indeed committed to making a better world, a better York, a better community for you all. Wow, thank you to YWCA, whose mission is to eradicate racism and work to empower women. Thank you for being here. And all my city colleagues, wow. 'Cause we have a very, very diverse workforce. We have a wonderful group of people who work to move this city along. Thank you all so very much for being here. I did not expect this, guys. So we have our state representative with us, city elected officials, and our city school board folks, again, who are committed to making our city better. And again, thank you to everyone else who's here. We should all feel ashamed as Americans for what has occurred in Charlottesville, Virginia, where we had a white nationalist supremacy mob, if you will, with the intention not to celebrate history, but to incite violence. My heart aches for those who lost their lives, the civilians, the state troopers, and for those who were even injured. While we may never entirely rid our society of hate, we should never embolden it. We have fought wars and soldiers have died to eradicate this distorted and perverse philosophy from the earth. And we should take every opportunity as leaders to condemn it. Together as Americans, as Yorkers, it is incumbent on all of us to continue to project and educate others against this vile hate and bigotry. We are not born hating others. It is very much a learned trait. And I fear for our young people seeing the scenes of Charlottesville, Virginia, and not having strong leaders and adults condemning it in unison. That's why I'm so honored to be here in unison with our city elected officials. I am an American, a veteran, and a mayor, and this is first and foremost an American problem. This isn't partisan. This is about being an American and standing up to the bigotry that exists and was on display. It is incumbent on all leaders to make their voice known that this hate and bigotry has no place in our society, no place to hide, and no place of welcome here in our York. I again am honored to stand with our leaders of York to denounce hate and racism and to make it clear there's no place for it in our community, again, in our York. We also take this opportunity to symbolically, we will later, after our other speakers, to symbolically sign onto the Anti-Defamation League and the U.S. Conference of Mayors Compact to combat hate, extremism, and bigotry. And we have copies of that over there on the table. There are 10 specific articles or key components to that compact. And I'll just briefly read those. 1, expressly rejecting extremism, white supremacy, and all forms of bigotry. 2, denouncing all acts of hate wherever they occur. 3, ensuring public safety while protecting free speech and other basic constitutional rights. 4, calling for full resource law enforcement and civil rights investigation of domestic terrorism and hate crimes. 5, elevating and prioritizing anti-bias and anti-hate programs in our nation's schools. 6, supporting targeted communities and bringing together civic and community leaders to build trust. 7, celebrating diversity, promoting inclusivity, and challenging bias. 8, promoting law enforcement training on responding to and reporting hate incidents while hate crimes and domestic terrorism. 9, encouraging residents in their communities to report hate incidents and crimes, including using hotlines and online tools. And 10, maintaining civil rights enforcement and strengthening hate crimes laws when necessary. For it is truly through engaging in civil discourse that we can protect against civil unrest. That's why we are having and starting this dialogue in this press conference today. It is an important discussion. It's not an easy one, but it is indeed very, very important. And again, I'm honored to stand with our other elected officials. We will now hear from State Representative Carol Hill Evans, and I believe Councilwoman Sandy Walker will follow her. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning, everyone. When Mayor Bracey asked me to say a few words today, I'm getting very emotional about this, but I hesitated because I'm one person. What can I say? What can I do to try to change somebody's mind, their heart, their attitude? And then when I got to the attitude piece of it, I thought about a line from one of my favorite movies called Remember the Titan. And they say, attitude reflects leadership. We're leaders. What is our attitude? What do folks see when they turn on the television and they see us bickering and they see us battling against each other because one is a D and one is an R? What does that really mean? We're all humans. God created us. We should adopt his attitude. That's the leader whose attitude I choose to follow. A lot has been said about the attitude of the current White House administration and how the resurgence of hate groups is a direct result of the president's attitude. That could very well be, but as one of your local leaders, I'm here to assure you that my attitude is one of love and respect for the people I serve. After all, we are all created by the Almighty. The Almighty whose attitude is one of love. As leaders, we must adopt an attitude of tolerance, acceptance, patience, and open-mindedness. It's not easy. In fact, as an elected official, sometimes that can be the hardest, the biggest challenge. But if we are to overcome the kind of hate-motivated acts, such as those that occurred in Charlottesville, we must start with ourselves. So today, I call upon my fellow elected officials and all local leaders, whether you're the leader of religious organizations, or of the Y, the NAACP, the school board, wherever, whoever, however you serve, I'm calling on you to live and lead with great attitude. Thank you, Mayor Bracey, for bringing us all together, for allowing me to be part of this, because it's important as a leader for the people that we serve to know how we stand and where we are. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Mayor Bracey, for calling this press conference. I think it's extremely important for our community to know where we stand as elected officials. A lot of times coming from a different generation, in a sense, a younger generation, I wasn't around to experience the civil rights movement. But in the end, we have to be realistic about what's going on in our country. And even though the ugly face of racism, of hatred, hasn't been as prevalent, now we're starting to see that it never went away. And we have to be realistic about that. As elected officials, we know it starts at home. It starts with us. And we want to make sure our young people know that this world is not a place for hate. This country is not a place for hate. This city is not a place for hate. And we want to continue to promote unity in our community. So it starts with us. We hope that we can continue to be an example. York has been, when you look at our history books, we've had our ups and our downs. But what we're going to deal with is what we can do right now. And as elected officials, as citizens in this community, we can do a lot more together. We have a lot more in common than we have different. And we stand behind each other. So it's important today that we let you know that, and we thank you for coming out, and we thank you for being the strong York community that you have always been. Thank you.
I just want to take a minute to say that as a county commissioner and representing York City, I'm proud to be here today. I'm proud that Mayor Bracy coordinated this press conference because we need to speak out. It was a tragic weekend. I mean, events that have happened is despicable. And I just want to say that everybody is born equal, and diversity is the strength of America, and we can never forget that. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Thank you for being here. I'm reminded of the words of a very wise man of peace and of love and of great vision. And he said, and I'm paraphrasing, "I long for the day that little black children and little white children can play together. I long for the day that little Jewish children and little Muslim children can play. I long for the day when all children of all colors and of all backgrounds can play together in front of their parents who beam and who are pleased and happy with this world. So let us all long for those days. Let us do something about it. And let's eliminate hate and violence. And that's what we stand here today as elected officials, to commit to making a better world and a world for our children. Thank you.
Thank you all very much. I want to also thank City School Board Member Diane Glover Brown for being with us as well. We also have from West York, right next door, Council Member Alan Vandersloot with us too, and any other elected officials that might be here. I do appreciate you being here. Those who are not, I asked you to stand up and denounce the racism and bigotry that we've seen it occur, and then join alongside of us, all of us, to make sure York City is a better place and a place that says no to that sort of behavior. As I indicated, the City of York, as a member, or I didn't, but we are a member of the U.S. Conference of Mayors, and I've been an active member for some time, and the U.S. Conference of Mayors have been sending out statements all weekend long leading into right now, today. The statement that we have is the compact that's over on the table. The mayor of York, me, have already signed on to it, and a lot of other statements as well, too. And I would just ask my colleagues who are with me this morning to join in on symbolically signing that. So when we call together to have another dialogue like this, we're already saying, yes, we're going to stand together and work through these tough issues. So if we would, move over to the table, and there's pens over there, and we'll sign. Thank you all very, very much. I appreciate you guys signing that. I Thank you all very, very much for joining in with us and signing that. That concludes our press conference. I do appreciate everyone for being here today. Let's continue to go about making York the great place that we all know it to be. Thank you so very much.